They came from the stars. Their ships were black like shadows and silent like death. No one heard them coming until it was too late. The Zarkalians had destroyed over 50 planets. Every species they met had fallen to their power. They had no fear, no emotions. They believed feelings made beings weak. To them, fear was a tool, and they used it well. No one had ever stopped them. No one had even slowed them down. But then they found a new planet. It was called Earth. The Zarkalian leader, General Creel, stood tall on the deck of his warship, looking at the blue and green planet on the screen. "A peaceful world," he said, his voice cold. "They will fall quickly." His officers nodded. Creel was never wrong. Earth looked calm, soft, and simple, just like all the other worlds they had conquered. Creel sent a scout team to land on the surface and study the humans. It was a small village in the mountains, far from the big cities. The scout ship landed at night. The village was quiet. There were no lights, no sounds. The houses were empty, like people had left in a hurry. The Zarkalians didn't care. They moved quickly, checking each house. But they found no one. No humans, no animals, not even a bird. It was strange. Then they saw him. A single man stood at the end of the village road. He was wearing a black coat. His hands were in his pockets. He didn't move. He didn't run. He didn't even look scared. The Zarkalians pointed their weapons at him. "Do not move," one of them shouted. The man didn't move. He smiled. Then he laughed. It was not a small laugh. It was deep and loud, like he was laughing from the heart. The Zarkalians looked at each other. This wasn't normal. No creature had ever laughed in front of them. Most cried. Some begged. A few tried to fight. But none laughed. The leader of the scout team took a step forward. "What is so funny, human?" The man didn't answer. He kept laughing. It echoed through the village like a ghost. It felt wrong. The Zarkalian scanners started to glitch. Their weapons showed errors. One soldier fell to his knees, covering his ears. "Make it stop," he cried. "That sound, it's inside my head." The leader tried to contact the ship. Scout team to Creel. "We found a human. Something is wrong. The signal ended. Static filled the screen. On the main ship, Creel watched the last image. The human laughing. Then nothing. He frowned. "What was that?" he asked. "No signal from the scout team." An officer said. "They'd vanished. All of them." Creel was angry. "A small human village defeated my best scouts." He didn't believe it. "Send a second team. Bigger. Armed. Kill everyone you see." But deep inside, something didn't feel right. The second team landed in a large city. This time, they came in daylight. The streets were empty. Cars were parked. Lights were on. But no people. It looked like the humans had vanished. The Zarkalians spread out. They searched buildings, shops, and parks. Nothing. Then a screen on a tall building turned on. There he was again. The same man. Same black coat. Same smile. "Welcome to Earth," he said. His voice was calm. "We've been waiting for you." One of the soldiers raised his weapon. "Shoot the screen." But before he could fire, the screen changed. Now it showed videos. Wars. Explosions. People screaming. Bombs falling. Children crying. Tanks rolling. Missiles flying. The Zarkalians watched in silence. This was Earth's history. Endless war. Endless pain. Then something strange happened. The video showed soldiers laughing in the middle of battle. Wounded men smiling. People dancing while bombs fell. A woman with no legs singing in a hospital. A child in ruins holding a broken toy and giggling. The Zarkalians didn't understand. "Why are they laughing?" one asked. "This doesn't make sense." Their translator glitched. It couldn't explain the emotion. "Humans laugh during pain," the system said. "They laugh at fear. They laugh at death." "No," said the squad leader. "That is not possible. Fear controls all." Then they heard it again. The laugh. It came from everywhere. From the walls, the streets, the sky. Deep, echoing laughter. The same man. But now it sounded like millions of him were laughing together. The squad tried to run. One soldier dropped his gun. Another screamed. "I can't think. It's in my head." The leader shouted, "Retreat, get to the ship." But their ship was gone. Back in orbit, Creel watched his second team vanish, just like the first. His face turned pale. This had never happened before. 2 teams gone, without a fight. Only the sound of laughter remained. Creel called a meeting. The officers were tense. "This planet is dangerous," one said. "Their weapons. They used no weapons." Creel shouted. "They used emotion. Fear. Something we don't understand." One younger officer stood up. "General, if I may speak freely, I don't think they fear us. That's why we're losing." Creel stared at him. "Explain." "Every world we've conquered, they were afraid. That fear gave us power. But humans, they don't fear us. They laugh. That laugh is not weakness. It is strength." Creel did not like this idea. But deep down, he knew something had changed. Earth was not like the others. This enemy was different. He watched the last image again. The man in the black coat. That smile. That laugh. Creel spoke softly. Why would a man laugh in front of death? No one answered. He stood up. "I will go myself. This ends now." He sent a full invasion fleet, thousands of soldiers. Ships covered the skies of Earth. Missiles aimed at every major city. Creel stood at the front, ready to destroy everything. But as they entered the atmosphere, all screens turned on again. The man appeared, still smiling. He said only one thing. "Welcome to fear." Then the sky turned black. Every ship lost control. Weapons stopped working. Soldiers screamed as strange images filled their minds. Images of humans smiling while dying, laughing in fire, dancing in blood. One soldier shouted, "This is madness." Another said, "No, this is human." Creel watched as his strongest fighters broke down. Some cried. Some begged to leave. Some just stared, frozen. Then, through the chaos, that laugh returned, louder than ever. And for the first time in his life, General Creel felt it. Fear. Not just fear of death, but fear of something he couldn't understand. The man wasn't just a soldier. He was something else. Something more. Creel whispered, "What are you?" The man answered, though his mouth didn't move. "I am a human, and we laugh, because we're free." And then everything went dark. General Creel sat alone in his command chamber. The screens were dark. The voices of his soldiers were silent. Every ship he had sent to Earth had gone. Not destroyed. Not damaged. Just gone. No signals. No bodies. No answers. Only the sound of laughter remained in the system. That deep, echoing human laugh. It haunted his mind like a shadow that never left. He couldn't sleep. Sarkalians didn't usually need rest like humans, but now his body shook, his thoughts blurred, and for the first time in his long life, his heart beat faster than it should. Something had happened on that planet. Something impossible. He had never believed in fear. He had taught that fear was weakness, but now he felt it in his bones. He called a meeting. His top commanders gathered around the war table. None of them looked proud anymore. They looked nervous, quiet. Their eyes avoided Creel's. "What do we know about the humans?" he asked. One of the science officers, Jell, stood up slowly. "We have studied their history," she said. "They are violent, but not like us. They fight each other. They destroy their own kind. And yet, they survive." "Survival is expected," Creel said. "Explain the fear." Gel pressed a button. Images appeared on the screen. Old Earth footage. Soldiers walking through fire. Civilians digging through rubble. Children laughing beside broken buildings. "This is the strange part," she said. "They laugh during pain, during war. Their soldiers joke in the middle of battle. They smile before they die. This goes against every rule of logic." Another commander spoke. "Fear is meant to stop beings from fighting. It's a warning. But they ignore it." Creel narrowed his eyes. "How?" Gel answered, "They've seen too much. Their world is full of danger, storms, animals, war, disease, hunger. They learn to accept death. And when death comes, they laugh." Creel stood silently. He had destroyed entire civilizations that begged for mercy. But humans didn't beg. They smiled. That made no sense. A species that didn't fear death could never be controlled, never be ruled. He looked at his officers. "Prepare a full army. No more scouts. No more games. I will speak to this laughing man myself." The next day, Zarkalian ships filled the sky over Earth again. This time, they came with power. Hundreds of warships, thousands of soldiers. Creel himself stood inside the lead ship, staring down at the planet below. It looked peaceful, green, quiet. But Creel no longer believed in appearances. He chose a landing zone in a city that used to be full of people. Now the streets were empty again. The buildings stood like silent guards. The windows were broken. Cars were left in the roads. The human world had simply stopped. Creel walked through the streets with his soldiers. Their scanners showed no life signs, no heat, no sound. But the strange part was, nothing attacked them. No traps, no defense, no army, just silence. And then, without warning, music began to play. Soft, slow piano notes echoed through the air. They came from every speaker, every screen. The same song. A human tune. Calm, sad, beautiful. The Zarkalians looked around in confusion. "Is it a message?" one asked. Then a voice came through the speakers. Calm, deep, familiar. "Hello again," it said. It was him, the man in the black coat. Creel stopped. "Show yourself," he said. The voice laughed. "I already have." The screens turned on. Everyone showed the man's face, still smiling, still calm. "I see you brought your army this time," he said. "Good. I was starting to think you were afraid." Creel growled. "We do not fear you." "Of course you do," the man replied. "You just don't know it yet." Creel pointed his weapon at the screen. "What are you?" The man's smile widened. "I'm just a man, a human. But I'm not alone. You see, all of us, we've lived through pain. We've buried loved ones. We've seen the world end and start again. And still, we smile. That's what scares you." "You use tricks," Creel said. "Fear machines, psychological attacks." The man shook his head. "No, we don't need machines. Fear is inside you. We just help you find it." Suddenly, one of Creel's soldiers fell to the ground. He was shaking, his eyes wide. "It's in my head," he whispered. "Voices, images, laughter." Another soldier dropped his weapon. "I see fire, children burning, but they're smiling." Creel turned to his army. Half of them looked terrified. Some had tears in their eyes. Others stared into the distance, frozen. "What is happening?" Creel shouted. The man answered. "You thought fear was weakness, but fear can be strength. It teaches. It warns. We learn to live with it. You never did. That's why you break so easily." Creel's hands shook. He clenched them into fists. "Enough. Show yourself in person." The man's eyes locked with his through the screen. "All right." Then he was gone. Creel and his soldiers waited. A door opened in a nearby building. The man stepped out. The same coat, Same face, same smile. He walked slowly, calmly, like he was taking a walk in the park. No weapon, no armor, just peace. The soldiers raised their guns. He stopped 10 steps away. "Go ahead," he said. "Shoot me." No one moved. Creel stepped forward. "You play with fear like a toy." The man nodded. "Because I own it. I felt fear every day of my life. Then I faced it, and it stopped being my enemy." Creel raised his gun. "You think you're stronger than us?" The man chuckled. "No, I think I'm free." Creel fired. The bullet stopped in midair. It froze inches from the man's chest. The man looked at it, then at Creel. "You can't kill what you don't understand." Creel backed up. His breath was fast, his hands cold. His gun fell from his grip. The man took a step forward. "Fear isn't your weapon anymore. It's your prison." More soldiers dropped their guns. Some knelt. One shouted, "We're cursed." The man looked at Creel with kindness, not hate. "You can leave. Tell your people. Earth is not yours." Creel turned. He couldn't speak. He couldn't think. His army followed him, broken, confused, silent. Back on the ship, he sat in the dark. The man's final words played again in his mind. "You finally met someone who doesn't fear death." For the first time, Creel realized something terrible. They had never conquered Earth. Earth had let them come and shown them the truth. General Creel no longer felt like a leader. He sat in silence inside his dark chamber. His eyes stared at nothing. Around him, the ship made quiet noises, humming engines, soft peeps. But he heard none of it. His soldiers avoided him now. They spoke in whispers. They were afraid, not of the humans, but of something worse. They were afraid of what they had become. No one had ever defeated the Zarkalians. They had never lost a war. They had never feared death. Until now. Creel's commanders met in secret. Some wanted to leave Earth and never return. Others wanted to destroy the planet from orbit with their most powerful weapon, the Starflare cannon, a blast strong enough to burn the entire surface. Creel listened to their ideas but said nothing. Then he stood and said, "We will not run." The room went quiet. "But we cannot fight them the way we fought others," he continued. "Their strength is not in their weapons. It's in their minds." A younger officer raised her hand. "Then what do we do?" Creel turned to the window. Earth floated outside like a calm blue eye, watching him. "We must understand them," he said. He picked 5 soldiers, strong ones, loyal ones, not just fighters, but thinkers. He told them to go down to the planet again, not to attack, but to learn, to speak to the humans, to find out how they had become what they were. The 5 soldiers landed in a forest far from any cities. Their ship stayed hidden among the trees. The air was clean. Birds sang. For hours, nothing happened. Then a group of humans arrived. Not soldiers, not leaders, just normal people. Farmers, children, an old man with a walking stick. The Zarkalians aimed their guns, unsure. But the humans raised their hands and smiled. One human stepped forward, a young woman. She had scars on her face. Her clothes were old and torn, but her eyes were calm. "Are you here to kill us?" she asked. The leader of the Zarkalian group said, "No, we came to ask why you're not afraid." The woman laughed softly. "Oh, we are afraid. Every day." The Zarkalians looked confused. "Then why do you smile?" She sat down on a rock. The others joined her. The forest wind moved gently through the trees. "Because fear isn't the end. It's just the beginning. We've lost family. We've seen war. We've cried. But we're still here." The old man spoke next. "Fear only wins when you stop living. We laugh because we're still alive." One of the Zarkalians asked, "What if you die?" The woman looked up at the sky. "Then we die free." The soldiers said nothing. Their translator buzzed, trying to understand the strange emotions, but there were no perfect words, only feelings. The Zarkalians stayed with the humans for 2 days. They saw people working together, helping each other, laughing around a fire. No one acted like they were in danger, even though death was near, even though the sky was full of enemy ships. When the soldiers returned to Creel, they looked different, their eyes softer, their hands calm. "They are strong," one of them said, "not because they kill, but because they don't give up." Another added, "They feel fear, but they don't run from it. They carry it with them." Creel listened. For the first time, he felt like something inside him was breaking. A wall, a belief. He remembered what the man in the black coat had said. "You finally met someone who doesn't fear death." That man, he had disappeared. No one had seen him since Creel's last visit, but Creel knew he was still there, watching, waiting. So Creel sent one message. To Earth. To the man in the coat, it said, "I want to talk." There was no answer for hours. Then a voice came through. "Come alone." Creel took a small ship and flew down without guards. He landed near a ruined church on a hill. The place was quiet. Wind blew through broken windows. The bell tower stood tall but cracked. The man in the black coat waited inside, still smiling. Creel stepped in. He had no weapon, just questions. "You knew we couldn't win," Creel said. "From the start." The man nodded. "Yes." "Then why let us come? Why not stop us?" "Because sometimes," the man said, "people don't learn by losing. They learn by failing." Creel looked at the man's face. He wasn't angry. He wasn't proud. He looked kind. "I don't understand," Creel said. "You're not stronger. You're not faster. But you defeated us." The man turned to the broken window. Sunlight shone through. "Because we've already faced everything you fear. We've watched our world fall. And we rebuilt it. Not once. Not twice. Many times." He looked at Creel. "What scares you the most?" Creel stayed silent, then finally said, "Not being in control." The man smiled again. "Then that's your prison." They stood in silence for a while. Then the man said, "You can go. Take your ships. Take your people. Tell them what you saw. Or stay. Learn from us. Change." Creel shook his head. "We don't change." "Then you'll come back," the man said, walking away. "And you'll fall again." Creel left the church. When he looked back, the man was gone. Back on his ship, Creel gave a strange order. "We are leaving Earth." His officers looked surprised. "What do we tell our people?" one asked. Creel stared at the blue planet on the screen. "Tell them," he said, "we met something stronger than fear." Creel returned to the Zarkalian Empire as a changed being. The others didn't see it at first, but something inside him had shifted. He no longer walked with pride. His voice was quieter, his commands less sharp. When he spoke of Earth, the room would go silent. His officers asked many questions. Why did we leave without victory? Why did we not burn their world? Why did we let them go? Creel always gave the same answer. We didn't let them go. They let us go. At first, no one understood. The Empire's leaders were angry. They had spent decades building the war machine. Planets had fallen at their feet. Races had surrendered without question. And now, a single world had made them stop. A small group of high-ranking leaders met in secret. They saw Creel as weak. They feared his words would spread. If the Empire lost its belief in fear, it would fall apart. So they made a plan. They sent a new commander, General Threx, young, bold, full of hate, to Earth with a new army. Twice as large, twice as powerful. Their goal was clear: destroy Earth completely and erase its name from the stars. Creel heard of the mission but said nothing. He sat in silence, staring at the stars. He knew what would happen. He had seen it before. Threx landed on Earth with fire and thunder. Cities lit up in flames. Buildings fell. Machines roared across the land. But there was no resistance, no army, no screams, only silence. It made Threx nervous. He ordered his troops to search every corner of the planet. They found empty homes, open books, photos of smiling families. It was as if the people had simply walked away. Then the laughter started again. Not loud, not wild, just soft echoes, heard through the radios, the speakers, the air itself. Calm, human laughter. Threx ordered it shut off, but it wouldn't stop. One soldier began hearing voices whispering in his ear. He screamed, fired his weapon at shadows, and collapsed in fear. Others started seeing things, flashes of people smiling as bombs fell, children playing in ruins, old men humming songs while their cities burned. Threx didn't believe in ghosts, but what he saw next shook him. A child appeared in front of his command ship. A human boy, maybe 10 years old, with dirt on his face and a cracked toy in his hand. He smiled up at the ship. The scanners showed no life signs, but the boy was there, staring. Threx watched from the window. He wanted to fire, to crush the child. But something inside him stopped him. He turned to his officers. "This is a trick," he shouted. No one moved. The child waved, then vanished. Panic spread through the army. Soldiers turned on each other. Some dropped to their knees, weeping. Others ran into the forests, never seen again. The machines shut down. The air felt heavy, as if the planet itself was watching. Threx tried to call for help. No signal. He was trapped. On the capital world, Creel stood before the council. They demanded answers. "What is this power the humans have?" One shouted. Creel replied, "It's not power. It's pain, turned into strength."